Yeah, thank you so much at first for having me. I have a couple of questions prepared for Sonic Frontiers, but if it's fine, also for some other Sonic-related things.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I was only able to play Sonic Frontiers on the show floor today, which is, I assume, the first island of the game. So I'm not able to have any questions for the rest of the demo, which is here in the business hall. I have an appointment on Friday, sadly. But yeah, regarding the open zone gameplay, was Sonic Frontiers the first game where you thought of adding this type of gameplay, like an open zone, or was that a plan before already, but you scrapped it?
ゾーンのゲーム過去にあったでしょ過去にオープンなスペースをゲームの中に取り入れることは、ソニックアドベンチャーだったりいくつかのタイトルでそういうのはあったんですけど、でもオープンなスペースだとソニックらしいハイスピードのアクションができないということで、もうそれ以来封印しちゃったんですね。なのでそれ以来ずっとソニックはずっと道を作って道の上でアクションをするっていうゲームスタイルをずっと20年間続けてきたので、今回が初めてそのオープンなスペースでハイスピードアクションをやらせるっていうのにチャレンジしてます。
Yeah, open space has always kind of explored. They haven't always, but they have existed in the past for Sonic Adventure, where they had the hub world. There were these open spaces that they would make, and part of what the problem was after they made it is they'd make these open spaces, then they'd try to put the high-speed Sonic action inside of these open spaces, and they're like, this just isn't fitting, it isn't working, we can't get it to work. And so they thought it was impossible, and for the longest time they were like, no, we can't try to do this open space with high-speed Sonic action gameplay, and they focused on making more linear paths and having Sonic running on these paths and creating spaces for Sonic to do the high-speed action on. But, smash cut 20 years later, for Sonic Frontiers, this was the first game where they said, you know what, I think we can do it, we're going to challenge ourselves to make this open space and then fill it with high-speed action that Sonic can engage in this open area.
So that actually kind of answered another question we had regarding how did you manage to put the Sonic gameplay into an open zone without it feeling too small? Because that's something we kind of thought of, that the open zone would feel very small because Sonic is so fast. So how exactly did you manage to do that?
そう、オープンゾーンを作ったんだけど、できたら狭く感じるんじゃない、広く感じてる。何がわざだったでしょうか。
この島の広さっていうのは、一番最初のこのファーストアイランドを作るまでに、もう3、4回はもう作り直してるんですね。とりあえずこれぐらいが適正だろうと思って最初作った島はすごい狭くて、あっという間に島の端から端まで走れちゃう。でもそれでまた作り直して、で今度は広すぎるからもうどこだか自分のロケーションがどこにいるのか覚えられないぐらい広すぎちゃって、でゲームプレイにならなかったりとか、かなり島のサイズに関してはこう何回も作り直して、で今回の広さに決まってます。
Yeah, that was one of the kind of things they actually ran into when they started making the islands. Is when they first made the very first island back when the early times of developing the game and figuring out what the gameplay is going to be. They made the island and they started playing it and they're like, this is too small. We're just running out of space. So they said, well, let's make the island bigger. And then they tried again. They made the island much bigger. And now it was too big. We didn't know where we were going, where Sonic actually was in relationship to the size of the island. So they had to make it smaller. And through numerous iterations, they were making things bigger, smaller, more dense. So it's too dense. And they finally got to the kind of size and the feel of density things to do on the island that we're at now.
Yeah, that's also something I can confirm from playing it. It felt just right. That's really great.
ちょうどいい広さに感じた。
So, what were your first inspirations for the open zone? Was it like the Sonic Adventure titles or something like Sonic Unleashed, which has kind of very big levels already? Or did it come from somewhere else, like other open world titles, for example, maybe?
インスピレーションはどこから来たでしょうか。アドベンチャー経由でインスピレーションになったりアンリッシュとか。
いや、さっ きも言ったんですけど、アンリッシュとか、そのソニックアドベンチャーは、オープンなスペースがあったんですけど、そこにハイスピードアクションっていう、そのゲームプレイ的な遊びは取り入れられなかったんですね。だから今回は、もう完全にスクラッチから始まったようなもんですね。完全にオープンなスペースを作ってみて、で、それでソニックらしいゲームプレイを入れようとしたんだけど、やっぱりソニックらしくなくて、で、一回全部捨ててもう一回作り直したりとか、本当に、過去に参照するゲームがないので、今回本当にスクラッチからのスタートでした。
So it actually is a game made completely from scratch, kind of because the open space or the other feelings from the other games didn't allow for the high-speed Sonic action that they were looking for. So even like Unleashed was like that, Sonic Adventure was like that as well, and they really knew that if they were going to follow those kind of games, they wouldn't be able to put in the high-speed Sonic action. So when making the game from scratch, they wanted to make the game, give it a try, make sure that high-speed, real Sonic high-speed action was fitting in there, and when they'd play the game as they're testing it, like, does this really feel like a high-speed Sonic action game in an open area? And if not, like, we gotta throw this out and we gotta start all over again because it's not feeling like they're getting the high-speed action in there. So it was kind of made completely from scratch because they knew none of the other titles from the past were able to have that open feel as well as the high-speed Sonic action feel.
Okay. Yeah, where did the idea come from to include a more advanced combat system, since Sonic has many more abilities to fight in combat in this game? And here again the question, did you take some inspiration from titles like Sonic Boom or Sonic Unleashed maybe? Because it feels kind of similar at some points.
そうですね。まずこれまでのソニックタイトルも、やっぱりバトルをもっと面白くしたいっていう気持ちはすごくあったんですよね。この20年間、モダンソニックになってから、ずっとホーミングアタックで敵を倒すことしかやってこなかったので、やっぱそれまでの間にも、ずっともっとバトルを面白くしたいっていう気持ちはあって、で、まあ、ソニックアンリッシュとは完全にバトルとアクションを全部別々に分けたのがソニックアンリッシュ。だから結局、別々に分けると、それはそれで、ユーザーさんの求めるものとは違くて、今回のソニックフロンティアのようにやっぱり 3D アクションの中に新しいバトルアクションを入れたかった。で、今回それがなぜ実現できたかっていうと、ハイスピードアクションをやっても、そのバトルを遊んでもユーザーさんが自分で選べるんですよ。どれをボスと戦いたいのか、ハイスピードアクションをやるのか、パズルをやるのか、ユーザーさんが自由に自分で好きなものを選べるようになったっていうのが、まあ、今回バトルを面白くしようっていうことになった理由です。
So actually, Iizuka-san always wanted to kind of increase the amount of battle that Sonic could engage in. From the very beginnings of the modern kind of era, Sonic's always only really been like a one-button homing attack kind of battle character. That was the amount of battle that the games had. And when they were looking at improving the battle and adding more battle things that Sonic can do, Unleashed is one of those titles where they had the action, the high-speed action, the running, and the boosting and all that stuff, and then they also had, separately from that, more of like a battle system, and the game was more about battle. But because they were so kind of separated, we had people kind of, fans when they played it, they really liked one thing or they really liked another. I know it didn't feel like it was merged together as one kind of unified structure. And because we have like the open zone gameplay, and because we have this kind of open free format to play with for Sonic Frontiers, the team was really able to take the high-speed action and kind of add into it the battle system. So it's no longer like two separate pieces, but they're put together so you can do the high-speed action, you can do battle, and it all kind of feels like one unified system on one world. And because you have the freedom to say, hey, when I'm running around the world, do I want to engage this enemy in battle? You can choose to do that, and now there's a battle system that allows you to do that. At the same time, you can say, I don't want to engage that boss. I want to go run and jump and platform and do all the other Sonic actions that you want to do. So this freedom that we have with the open zone game format is really allowing the team to take the battle to the next step.
So yeah, we have a new what I assume would be the enemy of the game called Sage. And where did the inspiration for Sage come from? From the looks of this enemy, it kind of looks like Infinite in some parts, like the red cube thing maybe. So that's just something that's interesting to a couple of fans. Where did the inspiration for Sage come from?
まず、確かにセージとインフィニットでその赤いキューブのエフェクトは似てますけど、全く関係はないです、この両者。
で、そのインスピレーションがその後で。
続けちゃっていい？
Okay. じゃあとりあえず言ってみます。So yeah, there is a lot of similarities between Sage and Infinite. You know, the red cube, maybe motif, may look similar, but they're not connected at all. So
yeah, I assume that.
All right, good.
でセージはですね、まずこのソニック・フロンティアというゲームは、ソニックもエッグマンも訪れたことない全く未知の島で、そこでソニックが全く新しいエネミーと出会う。で、何したらいいかわからない。仲間をどうやって助けたらいいかわからない。ソニックも、あとゲームを遊ぶユーザーさんも、全く何の知識もないところから、少しずつこの島の謎を探していくっていうゲームなんですね。で、そのセージも、その一つで、謎のキャラクターは誰なんだろう、何なんだろう。なんでソニックをこの島から追い出そうとしてるんだろうっていう、その全くわからない未知のキャラクターっていうことで、今までのちょっとデザインとはちょっと違う人間っぽい少女のキャラクターっていうのを考えています。
Yeah, so when talking about Sage as a character for Sonic Frontiers, you know, Sonic and Eggman are both coming to the Starfall Islands for the first time. This is like a mysterious place for them, new for them. They've never been there before. And kind of that newness and that unknownness we wanted to come across in not only the mystery of the story, like when you get there, Sonic's friends are stuck in cyberspace. What's he supposed to do? He doesn't know. Like, nobody knows. Not even the player. Like, the player, when you're playing the game, isn't told, you need to go do this in order, like, it's a mystery that you need to go on this adventure to kind of fit in with the mysterious island that they're going to and the mysterious story. Sage is kind of one of these other elements of this mysterious character that I don't know why this character is the way this character is, what this character is doing, or why the character wants Sonic to leave and get out of there. And it's through playing the game and understanding the character, there's something kind of new that you're going to learn about the character, just like you're learning about the island and the other things going on. But all of these mysterious things the team wanted to put into the design of the character. And that's why you kind of see Sage as this like mysterious young girl who has these abilities or these things that she can do that we don't know that much about. And you'll find out in the story. But
great. I'm looking forward to it. So, just a very small question, since we're debating on it in our community. When did the actual development process of Sonic Frontiers start? Was it like right after Sonic Forces, or was it even before the release of Sonic Forces, or much later?
開発はいつスタートしてファンの中では結構してるね。
開発はソニックフォーセスが終わってからすぐに企画はスタートしてるんですね。なので2017年にソニックフォースの開発が終わってるんですけど、そこから企画内容は結構2点3点して変わってるんです。だからなのでそこから今のソニックフロンティアのゲームデザインにたどり着くまでにちょっと1年ぐらいゲームのコンセプトを考える期間が生まれています。
Yeah, the game development did start right after Sonic Forces released, so that's 2017. But as Sonic Forces was done, the team kind of thought of like, well, this is going to be our concept for the game. That concept actually went through about 2 to 3 like major revisions. So yes, development did start after Sonic Forces, but the game did go through conceptual revisions, and then even that, the team kind of said like, hey, we need another year to really kind of figure things out and get things working to where it's going to be, to take it to the next evolution of, you know, what Sonic's going to be as a game. So there's a lot of talk about it. It's been in development since 2017, but I don't think people understand that there's been also a lot of change in what they were making from 2017 to where we're at now.
Yeah, I mean, that's just like how game development is.
Right.
So, another question is about the Switch version of the game. Since I've played it, I think it was the Xbox or PC version on the show floor. But how will the Switch version compare in terms of like frames per second or the resolution? Will it be much different? I mean, of course it will, but how much will it differ?
Yeah.
まあ、もちろん今はショーフロアではすごいハイスペックな PC マシンで動かしているので、あれと全く同じものをスイッチバージョンで出せないのはもうお分かりの通りですね。ただまあ、レゾリューションとかフレームレートを変更することで全く同じゲームプレイをスイッチバージョンでも楽しめます。
So yeah, what you see on the show floor is our super high-end specs running the game, and obviously, you know, it's going to be on a monitor that doesn't exist in the world of Nintendo Switch. So it is going to be a different version of the game that you're going to be playing on Switch. It will be like lower resolution, lower frames per second, but from a high-end PC, of course. We kind of feel bad telling you the obvious. But they did say by reducing the resolution to, you know, what fits on a Switch screen and the frame rate, they're able to preserve kind of the gameplay. So you're not getting a different game from what everyone else is playing. You're getting the same gameplay, just at a different resolution.
Yeah, do you have maybe any specs? Like, will it run on 60 frames per second, maybe 30? The resolution, will it be 720p or maybe lower to get the frame rate stable or something? Or are you not that far in the development or the optimizing process yet?
スイッチの具体的なフレームレートか、あとレゾリューション、解像度はどこまで言いますか？
だからあえて今言わない答えをしてそこはもうしょうがない。マシンパワーによってそれは差があるので、そう PS4 と PS5 もやっぱりそれは違うし、それはやっぱマシンパワーそれぞれのプラットフォームで出せる最大限のマシンパワーでやってる。
Yeah, we're trying to answer your question without answering your question, but like what they did for the Switch is they really took the machine power that the Nintendo Switch had and kind of customized that gameplay experience to make sure the game was the same game on Nintendo Switch, and we're not like changing the game at all, but kind of formatting it for the power and spec of the Nintendo Switch.
Okay, then I assume I just look forward to it.
Look forward to it because you're getting the same game.
Yeah, I mean,
It just can't be 4K, you know, crazy stuff.
No, obviously. But that was a question we got from our community, actually. So,
Thank you for asking.
last question regarding Sonic Frontiers, which is a weird question to ask probably, but is there any question about Sonic Frontiers that you have never been asked but always wanted to answer?
聞かれたことないんだけど、
言いたいこと？
言いたいことで。
Like something you always wanted to talk about, but no one asked yet.
Good question.
Good question.
なんでしょう。
だから、そうですね。聞かれてないこと。
言われてないことなんだけど言いたいこと。
そう、今回は、まあ、もうすでに発表はしますけど、シナリオはイアン・フリンが IDW のライターであるイアン・フリンと一緒にやってるんですけども、まあ、彼と一緒にこのシナリオを考えるにあたって、ソニックのメインストーリーに深く関わりのあるストーリーにしたいっていうふうにやっぱ彼もすごくソニックファンなので、なのでその彼と一緒に作ったストーリーというのはもちろん今回のフロンティアは全く新しい舞台なのでそれの全く新しい設定でお話が展開するんですけども、 それとは別にこのソニックフロンティアがソニックのメインストーリーにすごく深く関わってるっていうことはお伝えしておきたい。みんなに知ってもらいたい。
All right, so here's something. The scenario for Sonic Frontiers was written by Ian Flynn, and one thing that I think a lot of people don't ask, but that Iizuka-san really wants to remind people of, is Ian Flynn was really kind of at the core of what this main story was all about, and there were a lot of conversations with Ian Flynn at those early stages of, this is the story that we want to tell, this is how we want things to be built, and he really was deeply involved at an early kind of stage with that story for Sonic Frontiers. So a lot of people usually don't ask us all that much about the story for the game, but he just wants to remind people, or let it be known again that Ian Flynn was really involved in the storytelling.
That's a very good answer. Speaking of Ian Flynn, I can jump to a question I had for later. Do you read the IDW comics, and how do you like them, and are you involved in the creative process of the story of the IDW comics?
まずなんだろうな、ずっと今までソニックフロンティアの前までは別のアメリカのライターさんにお願いしてたんですけども、やっぱりそのライターさんによって、ソニックのセリフ回しとかやっぱどうしても個性が変わってきちゃう。で一方その IDW の方ではやっぱりイアン・フリンがすごいファンの人からも人気があって、やっぱそのコミックとゲームと全く違うソニックが展開されるよりもやっぱすごい一緒になって一緒にコミックとゲーム一緒になってソニックをちゃんと引っ張っていきたいっていうこともあって、イアン・フリンと一緒に仕事したいなっていうのはこのプロジェクトの前から一応考えています。
Yeah, Ian Flynn is one of those people that Iizuka-san wanted to work with for like future titles. For a long time, we had other writers on the project, but all of our games and the comics and TV shows or other things that we did all kind of branched out and went into like kind of different versions of Sonic. And what Iizuka-san wanted to do is kind of bring everything a little bit closer together. So by engaging Ian Flynn, who writes the comic books, and we love the comics that he writes. He's a fan of the series. He really understands the character. By having him included in the game process, we get to kind of bring the comics in to more of what Ian Flynn would do, which is get closer to what Sonic is, but then also create this nice harmony between the games and the comics. So even though they're kind of like separate entities and separate pieces of entertainment, they're really unified in like the feel of the character and the sense of the character moving forward. And Iizuka-san really wanted to get the comics and the games more harmoniously working together.
So, and what about you reading the IDW comics? I mean, they're, as far as I know, releasing in Japan, sadly not in Germany. But do you read them and do you like them?
もちろんIDW コミックになってから全部の原稿はチェックしてますし、当然全部内容も把握してますし、彼らと IDW と一緒にコミックのアイディアを出してるので。
So yeah, in regards to IDW comics, he checks all of the IDW comic like scripts, and he goes through an approval process with Ian and IDW for content checks. So yeah, he's read and knows like everything about the comics. They even have like a lot of ideating between IDW, Ian Flynn, and Iizuka-san about like the future stories, just to make sure the comics are kind of staying in line with what would be approved by SEGA.
Yeah.
So I know maybe some past comics kind of went off into their own thing, but these IDW comics are much more in line with what Iizuka-san is looking at and approving.
And the last question regarding the comics. We have characters like Tangle and Whisper that have been appeared in the mobile Sonic games at least. Are there any possibilities in the future that they could be added to the mainline Sonic games at some point?
そうですね。今のところ出す計画はないですけど、IDW に出てくるキャラクターっていうのは 我々もゲームに出せる権利があるので、まあ彼女たちがすごい新しいゲームにヒットするんだったら出る可能性はなくはないですね。ただ今のところ特にプランはないので、引き続きモバイルの方では出して、新しいコミックのキャラクターとかも出していければなと思います。
Yeah, so for the mobile games, they are in the mobile games. There's currently no plans to bring them into more like the mainline console experiences. But, they're part of the IDW comic character universe, so we do have like an okay to use them in our content forward. But, it really, depending on the characters, like we want to make sure any characters that come into a story kind of fit with what the game is, what the story is, and it feels like there's a reason for those characters to be there. So again, there's no plans to put them in any of our games moving forward, but it's always something that might happen in the future. But as far as like mobile is concerned, like mobile is very much a place where a lot of our characters do exist. So it'll probably continue. You'll probably see them there more often.
Hey, we don't have much time left, so I need to pick the right questions. Yeah, two things regarding Sonic Origins, which has been released this year. So we've been noticing one specific title not being re-released at all in the past years, and that would be Knuckles Chaotix. Are there any chances that we could see at some point a re-release of Knuckles Chaotix maybe?
ソニックオリジンズの中に、一つのゲームは入れ込めてないんで、それはキャオティクスの方ですね。ナックス&キャオティクス。はい。で、全然リリースもされないんで、それは今後出すでしょうかっていう質問ですね。
いや、今のところ出す予定はないですね。
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no current plans to release Knuckles Chaotix.
I just want to play it someday. That's why I'm asking. And yeah, can you tell us how well Sonic Origins performed? Like, is it a success, or do you have any sales numbers? Maybe you could share.
ソニックオリジンズはもう30年以上前のゲームなので、一旦ソニックオリジンズっていう形で整理したかったんですね。ずっと過去のタイトルがそのまま移植されて、で、いろんなプラットフォームになってて、すごい安い値段で出されたりとか、一旦そういう古いタイトルを一旦リセットして、今後また何十年もこれがソニックのオリジンズなんだっていう形でずっと長く販売していきたいと思っているので、そういった意味で今回新しくオリジンズという形でリセットしました。
Yeah, so Sonic Origins actually, the whole kind of goal for Sonic Origins, because there's been many variants and many types, and Sonic the Hedgehog has been in different formats on different platforms. Like Iizuka-san really wanted to take all of these past game experience that have kind of scattered across all the different platforms and all the different types and all the different price points, and kind of reset everything and say, moving forward from here on, we're going to take all of the historic games, the origins of Sonic the Hedgehog, and kind of put them in one game format. And so moving forward, that's kind of for the thinking of the future. Like what he wanted to do with that title was say he wanted to cement those classic games in kind of a pack of the original content. So that was kind of the idea behind Sonic Origins as a title to release.
今後も今年後半には Netflix のアニメーションも始まりますし、で2024年にはソニック3のムービーもあるし、また新しいオーディエンスが今後来年再来年ってどんどんまた増えてくると思うんですね。その時にソニックのゲームやったことないっていう人が、じゃあ何から始めればいいんだっていうタイトルとしてソニックオリジンズっていうのを今回出したので、今後新しいオーディエンスがどんどん増えるたびにもう一回このソニックオリジンズを遊んでもらいたいっていう、長く売っていきたいというつもりで出しました。
Yeah, so in Sonic Origins is like, sorry, I forgot this from the original part, but Sonic Origins is supposed to be like a really long-term selling title, and a lot of the key ideas in making this like a single package product is for movie 2 we saw a lot of kids and young people kind of watching the movies and getting excited about the game, and this is kind of the answer to like, hey, what game of Sonic's am I going to play? I just saw the movie, I'm excited. You can play Sonic Origins. I'm thinking even we have a Netflix TV show coming out at the end of the year, or this holiday, winter, is it? I don't know.
I've heard something about December, but I think it hasn't been confirmed yet.
Yeah. I'm not sure either. This winter we have a Netflix series coming out in the Sonic 3 movie. When was that announced? Was that like 2024? 2024. We have Sonic Movie 3 coming out. So there's all these like future things that we know. People who are, especially the younger kids, they're going to come in, watch this content and get like, what am I going to play? There's all these games. Sonic Origins is the answer to that kind of question of, if you want to know all about Sonic the Hedgehog, here's Sonic Origins. It's Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Sonic CD, and Sonic 3 Knuckles, all packed into this, the origins of Sonic the Hedgehog as a game. So it's really supposed to be this long-term selling product that's going to kind of bring in those new fans and get them to experience what probably all of us experienced back with the original origins of the character. It's introducing them to the origins of the character in a new form.
So, one more question. Okay. Just give me 1 second.
So many questions.
Yeah, I've written down so many questions. So yeah, I'm just gonna go with this. Speaking of the Sonic movie 3, you have probably seen the second one already, so I hope I don't spoil anything. But it seems to go in a like Sonic Adventure 2 like direction, from judging from the end credits scene from the movie. So opens that maybe up the possibility for other collections, maybe the adventure games, or I know a lot of fans are also wanting to play the Sonic Advance games again, which were released on the Wii U Virtual Console, but only in Japan. So is there a possibility for other collections coming up going forward, especially with, or to stay in line with the movie stories?
一応ムービーの中で、2の中でアドベンチャーシリーズ的な終わり方してるんだけど、ムービー3とかになっちゃうと、いやもしかしてアドバンスゲームシリーズ大好きなファンもいっぱいいるんだけど、そっちも映画化される可能性はあるでしょう。
映画化？
そう。サニックの中で、2の中でサニックアドベンチャーの雰囲気はちょっと出してるじゃないですか。で、雰囲気ですね。で、サニックの3の映画でもしかしてそのアドベンチシリーズとか他のシリーズも入ってくるでしょうかっていう、ちょっと分かんないよ
映画に関してはもう私からちょっと答える立場にないので答えられないんですけど、でもやっぱりその映画を作っているフィルムスタッフはすごくソニックが好きな人たちが多いので、もうソニックの過去のゲームにインスパイアされたいろんなシーンとかをこう映画の中に取り入れてくれているので、ムービー3でも何らかいろんなタイトルからファンには分かるであろうシーンというのは必ず入れてくれると思います。ただそれが具体的に何のタイトルなのかは私には分からない。
Yeah, so Iizuka-san doesn't make the movies, filmmakers that make the movies, so it's like I can't speak on behalf of what they may or may not do. But he did want to mention that the film staff all love Sonic. They've all played a lot of the Sonic games from Sonic's history. And I think even if you saw movie 1 and movie 2, you realize they like kind of putting in a lot of references that Sonic fans get from a lot of different series and a lot of different places. So, like, he has no idea what they're going to do for movie 3, but he's pretty confident because they're super, like, they really love Sonic, they know the history, and they like kind of making those references, that there's probably going to be more of that in movie 3 as well.
And regarding future collections, is there a possibility?
future collections.
Yeah, of
like
older
putting out
Sonic
game
games.
content.
Yes, like a Sonic Adventure collection, for example.
Oh, just like Origins.
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
それはあり得るでしょう
まだ
ベンチシリーズとか
今現時点では当然イエスとは言えないんですけど、ソニックオリジンズと同じようなコンセプトでまた何年か後にそのオリジンズとは違うまたコレクションっていうのは可能性はありますよね。ただ今現状はプランはないです。
So there's currently no plans to do that, but I think you have a great idea. That's probably something that in the future we're also going to say is like, hey, why don't we get all of the adventure series? Why don't we get all of the Rush series? Why don't we get all of the whatever series together and release it just like we did with Sonic Origins? So yeah, there's currently no plan, but in the future he does think there is opportunity to maybe present to people, here's the adventure series collection or whatever in a format like Origins.
Sounds great. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
For your time.
Thank you.
For your time.